If you've ever experienced pain during sex, this episode's for you. And even if you haven't experienced pain during sex, it is actually so much more common than we usually realize. So we want you to stay tuned so that you can be equipped to have this conversation with other women in your life. This is the Road to Happiness podcast. We're your hosts, Josh and Cassie Spurlock. And this podcast is sponsored by My Counselor Online, a leading provider in Christian counseling online. In this podcast, we love to deep dive into all kinds of topics that are very applicable to real life. And we're in a series right now talking through the chapters in our Feeling Sexy book. And I feel the weight of this chapter because I think it has been misguided in the past of what the stance has been, and just very shaming and very isolating to people experiencing this pain. And so just wanted to start by saying, hey, you didn't do anything wrong, and you don't have to walk through this alone if you're experiencing pain. And there is hope. We have a super fun, spicy chapter later on in the book that talks all about pain on purpose, like how we can utilize the neurochemicals God gave us to ratchet up our sex life. But that's not what this chapter talks about. We're just talking about pain that isn't good, that we don't want, that we don't know how to deal with.
I get excited about topics like this, not because I'm excited about pain, but I'm excited about the hopefulness around it. That as a sex therapist, having worked with hundreds of couples and thousands of hours of sex therapy, like navigating pain is a very common thing that we have talked through and help people overcome. And so, there's something kind of, I don't know, nerdy. I want to say sick, but I don't think it's really sick. But it's like a firefighter, right? Like a normal, healthy individuals don't get excited about house fires, and they run away. Normal, healthy people run away from buildings that are on fire. But firefighters, they hear the alarm go off and they're like, let's go. And they're excited and they slide down the pole and they get in the truck, they got their gear on and they run towards the burning building. And they do so because they know how to be helpful.
Yeah.
Like there's this, I'm going to show up on the scene and I'm going to help people and I'm going to help this situation get better, and that we're going to deal with and take care of what is happening here. And as a sex therapist, I feel that way about subjects like this. I'm like, let's go. Let's talk about this. And I'm so thankful for the men that are listening to this, for the women that are listening to this. I mean, I want to educate the world about the truth when it comes to God's design for sexuality. And the truth is, while sexual pain may be common, and it is common, it is not normal.
It's not part of God's design.
Not the way it's supposed to be. It's not what God designed for sex to be. And it doesn't have to be this way. And so let me say that loud and clear, because there's a lot of bad information out there. Sex is not supposed to be painful. That it is intended to be pleasureful, fun, and joyful for all involved.
Yep.
Not
every time.
Painful. Every time.
Every
right?
time.
And including the first time. Sometimes people have this misconception that, it's normal to be painful the first time, or it's normal to be painful early on. And this is not true. It's not normal. So let's talk about what causes that and what we do about that and how we get around it. This is all out of chapter 11 in our book, Feeling Sexy, where we're just distilling the things that I've learned in thousands of hours of sex therapy and that we have shared with couples through the years to help them really have the sex life that God designed for them. And so the first thing I got to say about it is don't play through the pain. Stop doing immediately.
In a one sentence synopsis of this whole chapter. Don't play through the pain.
Yeah. Stop doing immediately anything that causes pain.
Because it causes long-term damage to the chemistry that you have around your sexual relationship.
Right. It creates what we call aversions. That is, there's a pairing of unpleasantness of pain with sex, sexual, being pursued sexually, thinking things sexual, like all things sexual get associated with pain. And none of us long for, desire, have an urge to pursue a poke in the eye.
Nope, we avoid it.
It's natural and it's good and it's healthy to avoid things that hurt and don't feel good.
God wired that system into us. So let's use that information to not accidentally sabotage ourselves.
Right. So we want to stop immediately doing anything that causes pain, because aversions are unpleasant and hard to unwind. They're not possible. And if you have had pain for some time, you have a sexual aversion, and that's part of what has to get unwound. And so there's now two problems. We have a pain problem and we have an aversion problem, and they make each other worse. And so, but we can troubleshoot those things and fix that as well. But stop playing through the pain. Now, what I'm not saying is stop having sex. I know. I can see the confused look on your face right now. Like, what do you mean? That you just said stop doing all things that cause pain, and sex causes me to have pain. And so I'm confused. Well, let me help you. As a sex therapist, I need to expand your definition of sex then. That if you think that sex is only the things that you do that end up with you experiencing pain, you have a very narrow definition of sex that is not helpful. So how are we going to define sex? We're going to define sex as any activity that we engage that builds sexual arousal in our body and moves our body closer to the reflex of orgasm, and that sexual peak, pinnacle, and release kind of within our body. So anything that we do or engage in that builds that in our body is a sexual activity. It's a part of sex. And there are all sorts of sexual activities that we can engage in that are part of that. Some of them might be painful for you, and you should stop doing those. That
doesn't mean that you might never do those, but for now.
Right. Step one, stop doing things that are painful, and don't make things worse by doing things that are painful. And then we'll troubleshoot them. But keep having sex. In fact, learn how to expand your sexual practices and experiences into really enjoying sex without the activities that cause pain.
Yeah.
Right. So what are we talking about? Let's get real specific here. The most common kind of pain that women experience is pain during intercourse. And there's sub-varieties. There's different kinds of pain during intercourse that have different causes and different things that we do to troubleshoot those things. But they're all related to pain that happens when we're attempting or engaging in intercourse. And so we want to stop having intercourse if it causes pain. But there's a lot of other things that we can do, a lot of other ways that we can enjoy sex that don't involve intercourse, where we both can be orgasmic together and both have a lot of fun connecting sexually without the pain. Now, does that mean we're going to give up on intercourse forever? Absolutely not. We can troubleshoot any difficulties that you have with pain. Good sex therapists can unpack those things for you and redeem that part of your sex life also. But today, what you can do is stop doing those things and instead lean into exploring and learning how to really build a vibrant, non-intercourse sex life in a way that redeems your sex life as a whole and begins to unwind any aversions that have started to set in by learning to pair sexual experiences with pleasure and feeling good and enjoyment and feeling safe and not feeling pain. And if you will do that, it will lay the foundation for troubleshooting and unwinding the pain during the things that are causing pain also. Like, we can fix that.
And when you do unwind those things, you are going to have a much larger menu of things to pull from. And that will be very fun.
Which is super helpful. Like, you just need a robust sex toolbox. There are different seasons in life where intercourse is not practical or advisable for one reason or another. And being able to enjoy sex more broadly and having more playful, fun sex activities in your toolbox that you can cultivate is just very empowering for your sex life, and just expands the breadth of experience that you have with your spouse.
Yeah. The conversations and experiences and talking through all those different dynamics and pieces give you a different kind of emotional intimacy than you may have gotten to if you hadn't been presented with this challenge.
Yes. I got to tell you, when it comes to sexual pain, I'm going to say you should trust your doctor usually. Like, what I mean by that is doctors are not trained in sex therapy as a standard part of their training. I know this because in my sex therapy training, we had doctors who were attending sex therapy training and would share what their training in med school consisted of around sexuality. And they get trained in anatomy and physiology and kind of the medical function of the body. But sex is very integrated with our heart and our soul and our mind. It's not just a physical act. And so there are times when doctors, because of their ignorance, will prescribe things and say things that are actually damaging for your sex life. That they may be medically accurate, but they're still damaging and destructive. For example, if you ever talk to a doctor and their advice for addressing the pain that you're experiencing is to rub numbing cream on your genitals so that you can endure sex, punch them in the mouth for me, would you? No. Well,
just kidding.
Maybe. I don't know. Probably you shouldn't assault anybody. But that's what I feel like I want to do.
Yeah, right.
If every time I have somebody sit in my office and I'm talking with them and they tell me that they had a doctor prescribe them numbing cream for their genitals, I'm like, can I get their name and address in that? Like, it's not done maliciously.
Yeah.
It's just done out of ignorance. And God's design for your sex life is not to numb your genitals so you can endure
tolerate
sex,
it. Yeah.
and that be what your sex life is.
Not for you or for your spouse.
Right.
Because
it's robbing to everybody.
Robs you both.
Yeah. So generally speaking, you want to trust your doctor. But when it comes to sexual difficulties, you want to consult with a sex therapist because there's different pathways. And oftentimes, as sex therapists, we operate multidisciplinary. And so we are oftentimes referring to doctors and medical professionals as a collaborative part of the care. Like, it's super common for me to refer somebody to a pelvic floor physical therapist.
Or for hormones as women get older.
To an endocrinologist to get hormones kind of checked out. And even to a primary care physician or a psychiatrist to evaluate whether the possibility of certain medications that you may be taking could have side effects that are impacting your sexual response or sexual desire. And so we're not poo-pooing on the medical community.
No, love the medical community, grateful for them.
Absolutely. An important part of our collaborative care process. We just want to highlight, because we hear it so often in sex therapy, where people have naturally turned to their doctor for advice about the pain that they're experiencing, and they're either given a cream or given a dilator or checked out physiologically and given, hey, I don't see anything that seems off.
Yeah.
And so you should be good, have a glass of wine and, or something like that, help you relax. And I'm like, refer them to a sex therapist.
Yeah. Work as a team.
So if you're a doctor out there listening to this, please,
there's hope.
Find out who the sex therapists are. You can send them to My Counselor Online. We train all our therapists in sex therapy. We will make sure that folks get taken care of well, but don't oversimplify the thing. And
and just to say, if you went to your doctor and what they said didn't help you, there's still hope.
Now, here's something that's just super practical. That the vast majority of pain has to do with inadequate lubrication. Use lube. Like sometimes let me say that again. Ready? Use lots of lube. Sometimes we get this weird. More than seems reasonable. Sometimes we get in our head because of just bad theology and bad information that somehow I'm inadequate if I need to use lube, that somehow I should naturally lubricate sufficiently to not need lube. And some women do, and that's great, and that's fabulous, right? But there are a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with your moral character, fortitude, or how much you love Jesus, or that can cause you to not lubricate enough.
Yes.
Which, when it causes pain, is a problem and is killer for your sex life. So ditch any of that nonsense that you may have picked up along the way that somehow makes it a measure of your womanhood as to whether you use lube or not, and pick up a giant bottle of lube. We like the Platinum stuff. And that Platinum's a fantastic brand. There's a number of different, or Wet is the brand. Platinum is their waterproof version. We do like that version and that. But they're a fantastic brand. But KY, Astroglide, there's all sorts of different ones. You can go to any
drugstore.
Any drugstore, Amazon.
And if you don't like the first one, try a different one. Don't be discouraged. You can keep working through things until you figure out what works. It's worth the effort.
Yeah, it's a great place to kind of just start if you're experiencing some discomfort, some pain. If you're in a 50 plus perimenopausal, menopausal woman, a lot of times it's an estrogen type thing.
Yeah.
And so, as estrogen decreases, your vulva, your vaginal canal can become less flexible in ways that can create some pain or discomfort. And so doctors will prescribe not a numbing cream, but a topical estrogen cream that helps to revitalize that tissue in a way.
Cream.
Yeah, this is
we like this cream.
This is a great cream. This is not a numb your genitals, but it's an opposite of kind of replenish and revitalize your vulva in a way that helps reduce pain and increase
revitalize your vulva.
Revitalize.
It's a slogan for
things sex therapists say that you just probably don't hear.
So real, right?
Around here, but if you're married to a sex therapist, you hear some weird stuff.
Yes,
they just have conversations that you don't typically have with just anybody.
Yeah,
it's
good times.
Yeah, good times. We get a little desensitized as sex therapists, because we're just used to talking about these things all the time with people. And so we forget that not everybody's as comfortable talking about revitalizing a vulva, in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
But, we're here. You're listening to this. You hopefully got it in your ear pods or in your ears. Or
next time you'll know.
You can sit wherever you want and learn about revitalizing your vulva. So, yeah.
Good.
Extra information.
Yeah.
So, bottom line, don't play through the pain. Don't get too stressed out or worried about it. I know that feels like I'm making light of it, but what I'm trying to say is that we have a high degree of success troubleshooting and overcoming pain. There's a very, very high likelihood that we can diagnose what's causing your pain and put together a treatment plan. And by we, I mean a sex therapist, like the ones at My Counselor online, or any good certified sex therapist will be able to ascertain what's getting in the way, put together a treatment plan, and within a matter of weeks, that be able to have things be different and be better. So I have a lot of hope for you and just want to cheer you on and encourage you in that. And, as a starting place, we recommend our book. It's it's a lot cheaper than a sex therapy appointment, and it'll give you a good place to start and really lay the foundation for you. May give you everything that you need to address the difficulty that you're experiencing. If not, it will give you a strong foundation for then making good use of your time with a sex therapist when you meet with them.
And the other thing that I just want to make sure we say before we jump off here is emotional pain is real pain. Like, don't play through your emotional pain. Don't mix together what God meant for good when you're feeling yucky and not connected, because God wants something so beautiful for your sex life together. And He's given you this system, this internal system. And if something feels off, get curious about that. Get curious about it together.
Yep. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We enjoy having these conversations together and with you and for you, and are hopeful that this information is useful to you, rather for your own life and your own story, or for the women in your life, or as a man, just understanding the women in your life a little bit better in a way that empowers you to be a friend, be a sibling, be a spouse, be a mentor in their lives, and speak truth in a way that can be powerful. So we all have a part to play in helping redeem God's design for sexuality in our own lives and in those of the communities that we're a part of. And this kind of information is super valuable in helping you do it. So thanks for taking the time to take it in. Hope it was as fun for you to be a part of it as it was for us to put it together for you. So we'll see you back here soon.